Welcome back once again, fans, to Culture Shock Wrestling Viral. I am Mike Roycroft. I am joined by the story of the year, story of last year, story of this year, story of every year, Brian Cage. Do I even need to tell you we've got another action-packed episode today? What you're used to seeing here on Viral. Lots of great competitors and lots of big matches. Coming up first, we're going to see a newcomer, Airman Banks, taking on the veteran T-Bird, trying to earn a shot on the permanent roster here at CSW.
Yeah, this is a Viral exclusive match that you won't see anywhere else. Airman Banks trying to join into the fray, if you will, at the House of Hardcore, taking on a guy that's been in Mossy Head a few times before, but you don't really get to see him too regularly. Tonight, both of these guys vying for a regular spot on the CSW roster.
Definitely looking forward to that. Another match we have, a man you saw last week, Mike Metal. He jumped Buddha Bushido after his match. He hopes to expand upon his path of rage tonight against a very capable competitor by the name of Mikey Webb.
Yeah, Mike Metal's been nothing but a bully these last few months, bullying guys like Nathan Beast, bullying guys like Buddha Bushido, and there's been at least one, besides Buddha Bushido, that we saw last week standing up to the guy. Mikey Webb is another one. We saw Mike kind of choke out Mikey after a triple threat match a few weeks ago here on the program. Tonight, Mikey Webb gets his retribution against the bully that is Mike Metal.
Whole lot of action. And it's brought to you by our sponsors, our friends at 911wrestling.com. If you want to know what's going on in the world of wrestling, not just here on the Gulf Coast, but everywhere, you need to go to the internet and type in www.911wrestling.com. Also go to Facebook and look up the Front Row Fanatics. They sponsor this show as well. They are champions of the independent wrestling movement here on the Gulf Coast. And now, this leads us into our next event, February 23rd, live. That's this weekend, this Saturday, at the Mossy Head Community Center. And one of the matches that's just been signed as a result of events we saw on last week's program, a qualifying match for the Four Corners of Hell. We're going to see the working class hero Joe Gibson take on the man that he had screaming in agony in the claw last week, Chris Corbin.
Yeah, Chris Corbin really cost Joe the heavyweight championship. You saw it last week, getting himself involved in the match after Joe had pretty much thought he had taken care of the Corbin problem earlier with a chair shot, but Corbin interjecting himself wound up on the short end of the stick at February 23rd this weekend, going one-on-one with Joe Gibson in a Four Corners of Hell qualifier.
And that, of course, qualifies one for a title shot. Chris Corbin, much like the flu, you think you got rid of him, then he comes back and makes you sick again. But right now, we're going to hear words from Joe Gibson regarding that man he's facing, Chris Corbin. Fans, I am here with a very angry Joe Gibson. You saw what happened earlier. And due to the interference in that title match by Chris Corbin, Joe Gibson gets to get Chris Corbin one-on-one in a match next month at Mossy Head Community Center.
Mike Roycroft, you sit here and you say that I'm angry. I'm not angry at all. What I am is enlightened. I'm enlightened now as to how low Chris Corbin will stoop to make sure that belt stays around Lane Smart's waist. Well, Mike, as I'm standing here before you, as I'm standing before God and everybody else, mark my words, next month, Chris Corbin just felt the tip of the iceberg, because next month, here in Mossy Head, Florida, Culture Shock Wrestling is going to hear his skull crack into two.
Not envious of Chris Corbin at this point, folks. Let's go back to you.
In two!
All right, fans, we are back in the arena, and we see the reappearance of a man. Even though he's very popular in this area with other promotions, we haven't seen him in CSW for a while. That is T-Bird.
Yeah, T-Bird, been a while since he's been in a CSW ring, and tonight he gets to go one-on-one with a guy that has never been in a CSW ring. Talking about that guy right there, Airman Banks.
Newcomer here.
I've heard a lot about this kid. Really exciting, really agile, really athletic. Trained up in Atlanta for a few years.
Worked with Mr. Hughes, didn't he?
Yeah, he trained at the Mr. Hughes School in up around Atlanta. Now he's ventured down into the Gulf Coast for the first time.
Third match of Culture Shock Wrestling Hardcore New Year is a match to determine which one of these two wrestlers will qualify for roster
for a spot on the roster here at CSW.
And your referee to officiate this match will be Dave Bryson. Introducing first, and his opponent from Shady Grove, Florida, weighing in at 200 pounds, Culture Shock Wrestling, this is T-Bird.
Folks, we should point out this is a CSW Viral exclusive match. This was filmed before the official beginning of the show at the Mossy Head Community Center. And of course, even though it's a newcomer here in Airman Banks and a returning former champion in T-Bird and other organizations, a lot at stake here with these guys looking for a spot on the permanent roster here at Culture Shock.
Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be in a place like Mossy Head where it's, you know, you talk to any of the guys in the back and ask them where's their favorite place to be at. A lot of them are going to tell you in Mossy Head at Culture Shock. And I know it's certainly one of the best crowds to be in front of.
Some impressive flips here. You see the good balance and high-flying techniques of both of these athletes. And if I may be so immodest, I would say that CSW Viral is doing its share to throw the spotlight on Culture Shock. We appreciate all of you out there watching us on YouTube or on the Facebook page or wherever you may be seeing us. We are trying to bring you the very best in action here on the Gulf Coast in wrestling. And you're seeing that mutual show of respect there between Airman Banks and T-Bird. Much shades of what we saw last week between Reagan Bryce and Lucura. Another great action-packed match between two very evenly matched competitors.
Yeah, no doubt. The difference between that match and this match, though, is really the relative inexperience of Airman Banks compared to T-Bird. T-Bird not only has far more experience in a ring than Airman Banks, he has a lot more experience in Mossy Head, in the House of Hardcore, knowing how to deal with that low ceiling and knowing how and when to pull off the kind of moves that he's used to doing.
Well, that was almost it. Big bulldog there by T-Bird. He's got Airman Banks on the run. The youngster here has his hands full with T-Bird, but he's got a lot to fight for if he wants to make his way up the ladder. Getting a roster spot here at CSW is certainly a great way to get started and to get noticed. Unique twist on the arm with the knee in the neck there. Good submission maneuver. Certainly keeping the man at bay, if nothing else. It's hard to get up and make any moves from that position.
And it's not very often that T-Bird gets a size advantage on a guy, but he's certainly making the most of it right now. Big knee driving into the shoulder. There you see all that weight that he put on that arm and that back earlier on Airman Banks is starting to come into play now.
Isolating a body part now with the arm and going to work. T-Bird, the veteran in this match, certainly doesn't want to get upstaged by the youngster. What we're going to see now, a big snap down to the floor and over the top rope. And I'll tell you what, folks, those ropes aren't made out of rubber bands. They hurt when you snap your arm over that like that.
No doubt. Steel cable wrapped in a special rope tape that essentially just dropping your arm over a steel cable. That's like climbing a 10-foot fence and landing on your armpit.
Something else. And he goes right back to the arm, wrenching it up, getting that torque on there. T-Bird not really taking any chances here. He's got this man grounded. He's working on him methodically. Perhaps looking for a submission at some point, or perhaps just to weaken him, set him up for a pinning combination. Oh, nice head scissors reversal there by Airman Banks, living up to his name, taking to the air. But T-Bird, the veteran, taking that momentum straight away with a big clothesline.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the size advantage that T-Bird has over Airman Banks. It's going to take a lot more for Airman Banks to wear down T-Bird than vice versa, and especially given the fact that T-Bird's already done a pretty good job of wearing him down to start out.
Big knees, and now right back to that injured arm. Big kick, not quite in position to hit him with the heel, but got enough of it on the back of the thigh there to be effective. And right back down to the arm, bringing his full weight down with the knee. He's really punishing Airman Banks, giving him quite the initiation here to Culture Shock Wrestling as T-Bird. You got to figure Airman Banks, well, I mean, both men have a lot to lose, but Airman Banks really with the one with everything to gain and nothing to lose, being the newcomer here.
No doubt. You mentioned before, T-Bird is a former tag team champion in CSW. He may not have a permanent spot on the roster, but this will not be the last time you see him in Mossy Head. Airman Banks, on the other hand, this is more for his sake. Oh, good.
Double kick. Both men had the same idea in mind and both connected.
Like I was saying, Airman Banks really has a lot more to gain. You know, he doesn't have that claim of being a former champion. He doesn't have that foot in the door that T-Bird really has here in CSW. He has to win this match if he wants to have any kind of spot in CSW in the future.
Well, just holding your own against a competitor like T-Bird is impressive in and of itself, but obviously Airman Banks looking for the win here. Going for clotheslines here, obviously limited with the use of one arm. Now a big drop kick, a lot of height on that one. Getting the crowd behind him is Airman Banks. He's on the offense now for the first sustained period of this match. T-Bird, though, with the big boot, once again taking away his momentum.
It seems like every time Airman Banks gets a chance... Oh, what is this?
Wow! That's like a Cobra Clutch meets the Stroke faceplant. He might have him finished here. Yeah, 3 count. Big win for Airman Banks over the veteran T-Bird.
Huge! Out of nowhere. Yeah, you called it. It kind of looks like a cross-face cravat. Slamming T-Bird down to the mat, and Airman Banks...
We see the replay of it now. It really looked like Airman Banks was on the defensive most of the match, but he may have just been biding his time, maybe have a little bit more veteran in him than we gave him credit for. He was waiting for the opening to hit this devastating finishing maneuver.
Well, there you have it, fans. Another exciting new addition to the roster here at Culture Shock Wrestling and Airman Banks. Victorious in a hard-fought match over T-Bird. We look forward to seeing him, among many others, in action this weekend. That's Saturday night, February 23rd at Battle Lines at the Mossy Head Community Center. We're going to have an action-packed night headed up with the CSW heavyweight title match between Lane Smart and Nathan Beast.
Yeah, Nathan Beast finally getting his shot at CSW Glory, but he's got to step in the ring with the Beast, Lane Smart. Certainly don't envy the guy, but you never know. Nathan's been able to pull out crazy upsets in the past. We'll see if he can pull off the biggest one of his career to date.
And speaking of the CSW heavyweight title, we got another match signed as a result of fallout from last month's match between Lane Smart and Joe Gibson. Joe Gibson gets his hands one-on-one with the manager of Lane Smart, Chris Corbin. Not only that, it's going to be a qualifying match for the Four Corners of Hell coming up in March.
Yeah, Joe Gibson has gone through hell or high water when dealing with Lane Smart and Chris Corbin for the heavyweight title. He gets one more chance to put himself back into that market when he has a chance to enter the Four Corners of Hell on March 30th.
Yet another championship match we have coming up. The Formula One title, Mays will defend against Reagan Bryce.
Reagan Bryce, no stranger to the fans of Mossy Head. One of the more entertaining, athletic, energetic guys you will see. Certainly going to be the toughest test for Mays to date for that Formula One title. But you got to wonder if the Fist is going to get themselves involved in that as well.
No doubt about it. Mays, the second in command, as named by the Cali Kid, of this new faction, the Fist, a group that you felt the brunt of, Brian Cage.
Yeah, it's like I've said before, they seem to be nothing more than lackeys and cowards that want to take advantage of situations, but it is what it is. I tell you what also is what it is, and that's me getting my hands on the Fist this weekend. I don't care what Cameron Frost or John Riker or even CSW management has to say at this point after I've gone back and forth through them for the past couple of weeks. Come hell or high water, the Fist is going to have to answer to me.
No doubt about it. A lot of excitement coming up this Saturday night. We hope to see you there. And now, we are going to go back to the ring.
And here comes that bully once again, Mike Metal, We just saw him here last week on CSW Viral, attacking Buddha Bushido out of the blue after his match was over.
Yeah, but I mean, Buddha really stood his ground, wasn't going to let... He had already had Uncle Wayne's whistle in his ear the whole night. He wasn't going to let Mike Metal just push him around. He wound up on the short end of it, but, I mean, kudos to Buddha for standing up for himself. And he's Mike Metal tonight facing another guy that stood up for himself and stood up for a lot of other guys from this bullying that's been going on from Mike Metal, and that's Mikey Webb.
Mikey Webb interjecting himself in an earlier confrontation the bully Mike Metal had with Nathan Beast, trying to attack him after the match. Mikey Webb getting himself involved to prevent that from happening. And now Mike Metal has demanded this match with Mikey Webb. Webb only too happy to oblige him.
Well, yeah, and I can't really blame him. The way that Mike Metal jumped Mikey Webb from behind after his triple threat match a few weeks ago here on Viral.
That's true. And if anybody can out-finesse, outmaneuver the bully, Mike Metal, it's Mikey Webb, a very skilled competitor. We've seen him here before.
Yeah, Mikey Webb, one of the more veteran wrestlers in CSW. He's been around the area for a long while. And he can outsmart you before he'll even try to beat you athletically.
I'm gonna do this because no one else can do it right.
Look at him. He's even got to bully the ring announcer.
People drop to your knees and worship at
Bullying the crowd. You can see this crowd solidly behind Mikey Webb. Oh! Mike Metal immediately taking him out.
Yeah, that's one thing you got to worry about when you're in there with Mike Metal. He does not care about your rules. He is a fighter. He is a scrapper. He is a bully. He is a beast when he is in there. There you see those stiff shots to the jaw of Mikey Webb.
Immediately grounding the high flyer Mikey Webb, too, taking away some of his arsenal, knocking the wind out of him early on. This certainly works to Mike Metal's advantage. Mikey Webb with a big boot. Metal barely phased, goes back in again. Another kick. Misses the big splash in the corner.
One thing that will never work in Mike Metal's favor over Mikey Webb. Beautiful split-legged moonsault.
Indeed.
One thing that will never work out in favor of Mike Metal over Mikey Webb is his wits. Mike Metal, not too bright.
I want to throw out a quick happy birthday to referee Tiny Meyer in there, celebrating a birthday recently. One of our crew here at Culture Shock Wrestling. Mike Metal back on the offensive. Boy, that headbutt looked really low there.
Yeah, and as soon as I say he's not too bright, he goes and pulls off something like that. You know, was kind of smart. You see, getting into the face, telling the referee he's got till 5. Yeah, he knows the rules. He just doesn't like to follow them.
He's got a PhD in cheap shots, that's for sure. We've seen that going on over the last several weeks. He's continuing the assault here on Mikey Webb. The crowd getting on him. But Mike Metal focused on his opponent. Not sure how effective those shots can be on the girth of Mike Metal. This man is just a beast.
Yeah, but Mikey Webb has a lot more fire in him than his size will tell you. I mean, you see it.
Big face wash there. My goodness.
Mikey brings that military background, that military training into every match that he has. You know, he's been trained to go out there and do things that just ordinary guys his size can't do. He brings that.
Snapped over Mike Metal and that snap mare there. That takes a lot of strength. Big kicks to the kidneys. And off the ropes. Oh,
beautiful shining wizard.
Devastating.
Shades of the great Muda himself. Mikey must have spent a couple of tours in Japan.
Metal very smart, though, getting out of the ring, getting his wits back about him after an amazing shot like that. Of course, Mikey Webb has had a lot taken out of him, gives him a chance to regroup as well. Both men probably dazed at this point. Webb looks ready to go, though.
Mikey not going to let Metal get a second in the ring, but Metal really just scouted it out on that one.
And this is probably more Metal's area of expertise, fighting outside the ring. And whoa, into the building beaten there. The foundation beam of the Mossy Head Community Center, a popular weapon among the competitors here. Mike Metal showing his supremacy here and rubbing it in the face of the crowd, who is none too happy about this.
Well, in their defense, I wouldn't be happy from Mike Metal rubbing anything in my face, but that's just me.
Good point. Now Mikey Webb taking a page out of Mike Metal's book, dragging him out of the ring. Let's see what he does here. Oh, big leg drop over the top rope. Very impressive.
Driving the knee into the sternum, into the solar plexus, if you will.
Amazing flip over the top rope. Once again, the athleticism you see on display that we have every month at every show here at Culture Shock Wrestling, Brian.
Yeah, and you see it on the replay here. Mikey flipping over, not really giving Mike Metal a chance to catch him, kind of driving the shoulders down. And Mike Metal may have cracked his head on the floor there.
Another cheap shot there, a rake to the eyes. Choking him on the ropes. You know, for all his size advantage, for all his skill, for all his experience, Mike Metal still going for the easy shots there, the bending of the rules.
Well, yeah, but I mean, why waste your breath if you don't have to? If you're able to bend the rules a little bit, some guys like to bend the rules a little bit. There's you biting the forehead. You know, save that energy for later when you may need it to be kicking out of a pin attempt.
Well, maybe it's just me, but it seems like he'd be a more sportsmanlike competitor there. Taking advantage any way he can, Mike Metal is, over Mikey Webb. Now let's see if we got another headbutt coming. Stomp. He's got Mikey down.
Driving the heel into the jejunum.
Oh, another low headbutt there while the referee was momentarily distracted.
And what was Tiny looking at over there? I mean, I know there's a couple of pretty girls at these shows, but I mean, come on, man.
Mike Metal, big punch. Just dishing out the punishment to Mikey Webb. And here we go, shades of the Junkyard Dog. Big running headbutt from the kneel position.
Well, and that makes sense. If you've been anywhere near Mike Metal, you know how he smells like a junkyard.
Vicious headbutts, though, really making contact. Mikey Webb looks out of it. This could be it. 1, 2.
Just able to get the shoulder up. I mean, really kind of a lackadaisical pin there from Mike Metal. And again, going back to the cheap route. Save that energy. Save his breath.
Any referee's got his hands full in a Mike Metal match. He's going to go as close to the 5 count as he can and do any cheap maneuver he can do behind the referee's back when he glances momentarily away.
And I can't really discredit him for that because it's something I've been guilty of in the past. But at the same time, you really want to see the best competition you can get, and that's really not the way to get it.
You don't see Mikey Webb taking those shortcuts. This guy's a competitor. He's there to win it, and win it with honor and dignity. Well, certainly showing that now and dishing it right back to Mike Metal.
And that's the difference between someone with honor and valor like Mikey Webb and somebody who's just a punk and a bully like Mike Metal.
And Mikey Webb, reversal into the turnbuckles. Charging with his full weight on Mikey Webb.
That's over 400 pounds of force coming in at you. Oh, and the
cannonball. He called it. Amazing agility for such a big man, too. You see what Mike Metal is capable of doing athletically, but he'd much rather go for the chokes and the eye rakes and the cheap shots.
Exactly, and that's just like I said before, a punk and a bully. That's something that those kind of guys do. Mike Metal is the epitome of a bully in CSW.
T-bone style suplex. Let's see if this does it. He's really got Mikey Webb dazed. Another 2.5 count there. Mike Metal might be feeling the frustration now. What does he have to do to put this guy away? He's really put him through the ringer here.
And Mikey's body may not have much left, but the spirit is definitely willing. That's where I talked about earlier, that military training coming back into play. Never giving an inch.
What's he going to do with his chair? Oh, Buddha Bashida coming out to stop that.
Way to stand up for yourself. Oh!
Big kick. Just like Wile E.
1,
Coyote.
2, 3.
That backfired. Buddha Bashida getting a little taste of revenge there on Mike Metal. And Mikey Webb picks up the win. Very, very impressive. Mike Metal obviously cannot be happy about this, and it's got to be hotter than ever at Buddha Bashida.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, let's look at the replay here. He went for the chair, and Buddha Bashida really just kind of came out of nowhere.
And Mikey Webb with that vicious kick, the chair into the face of Mike Metal, knocks him out for the 3 count.
And all those shortcuts, all those chokes, they're all for naught now for Mike Metal.
Taste of his own medicine, if you will.
There you have it, fans. Once again, an exciting match. The athleticism of Mikey Webb winning out over the bullying tactics of Mike Metal.
Well, and it seemed like all of those bullying and cheating and taking the shortcuts really came to bite Metal in the ass there when Buddha Bushido out of nowhere coming in and interjecting himself, preventing Metal from using that chair, distracting him just long enough to let Mikey use that athleticism and that determination that he has deep inside him. But kudos to Buddha Bushido for once again standing up for himself and standing up for what is right.
Just a little taste of revenge for Buddha Bushido after the attack from Mike Metal last time on CSW Viral. And that leads us to our live event this weekend. This Saturday, February 23rd, Battle Lines will be taking place at Culture Shock Wrestling in Mossy Head Community Center. And one of the matches that has been signed is between those two men who've had that rivalry going on. We're talking about Buddha Bushido and Mike Metal.
Yeah, Buddha Bushido gets his hands on Mike Metal. Really, after you saw what happened, Mike Metal kind of choking out Buddha Bushido, you got to wonder if he's going to have some kind of game plan. The one thing that is going to play into his advantage, though, Mikey Webb in his corner at ringside. You got to think Mikey Webb's going to be running Buddha through the drills that he learned in the military. It should be a rather entertaining match, to say the least.
Once again, that leads us to the big event coming up this Saturday. We hope to see each and every one of you there. This Saturday, February 23rd at the Mossy Head Community Center. Mike Metal taking on Buddha Bushido. We also have that qualifying match for the Four Corners of Hell. The working class hero Joe Gibson taking on Lane Smart's manager Chris Corbin.
Yeah, Chris Corbin in for a world of hurt. You heard what Joe had to say earlier. It's going to crack his skull in two. But either way, you got to worry about Lane Smart maybe interjecting himself, trying to get his manager into the Four Corners of Hell match. We'll see how that plays out. But Joe definitely gunning for another shot at CSW Gold.
Yes, indeed. That Four Corners of Hell coming up in March will determine a new CSW champion. But we also have a CSW championship match coming up this Saturday between defending champion Lane Smart and the up-and-coming people's favorite, Nathan Beast.
Yeah, Nathan Beast finally getting his chance at CSW Gold, CSW title, but he has to work his way through Lane Smart, a task that not very many men can do.
Another big match we have coming up for the Formula One heavyweight title, the second in command of the Fist Group. I'm talking about Mays. He's going to be defending against the very athletic Reagan Bryce.
Reagan Bryce, one of the most athletic men you will ever see on the Gulf Coast independent wrestling scene. Definitely the toughest challenge for Mays' Formula One title reign to date.
And as if things aren't getting personal enough between the competitors, we have a real grudge match between Cyrus LeVay, Mr. Omega himself, and the man we saw injure him just a few weeks ago here on CSW Viral, his former pupil, Matt Havard.
Matt Havard making this extremely personal, so personal in fact that Cyrus LeVay has named the scar on his forehead that was christened by Matt Havard, well, he named that scar Matthew. That's just how personal and intense this will get this weekend in Mossy Head.
No doubt about it. Very personal, very intense between these two. Also have it on good authority, we're going to see the tag team champions, Callie Kidd and DJ Durst from the Fist in action, among with more fallout from the Fist.
I've been in talks constantly with CSW management. They haven't promised me anything, but one thing they have guaranteed is that I will get a chance to air out my grievances with the Fist this weekend. Anybody that knows me knows that my grievances are aired with shins.
Wow. Folks, you don't want to miss that. We hope to see each and every one of you this Saturday in person, live at the Mossy Head Community Center. Come up and say hello. We'd love to see you there. Until next time, for my broadcast colleague Brian Cage, I'm Mike Roycroft. We'll see you next time.